Alright everybody, I'm sorry, I'm late. There was an advertisement by Gillette on the internet freaking people out right now. And we gotta talk about it. So Gillette's been under fire. Gillette's been under fire recently for their new ad where they tackle pretty much everything from toxic masculinity, sexual assault, to the Me Too movement. And the response hasn't been probably exactly what they wanted, or it's been exactly what they wanted. Kind of hard to say these days. Before I really kind of get into talking about it, we're just gonna kind of run through it, see what's going on, see like see the points they made, see what they say in it. Kind of just look at it from a rational way. Without further ado, let's roll.
Is this the best a man can get? It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses. But something finally changed, and there will be no going back. We believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Come on. Bro, not cool.
Some already are. But some is not enough, because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
As you can see, I'm in different clothes and there's a strange noise coming from my ceiling. It's been a day. Alright, just let's move past it together as a family. Okay, that's what we are, a family. Alright, so that video is very clearly trying to, it was kind of like a call to action. Hey, if you're a dude and you see some bullshit going on, go stop it. Set an example for the kids. That's kind of the message that I'm getting. No more bullshit, fellas. We are anti-bullshit here at Gillette. I mean, pretty positive message, right? Nothing really wrong with that. Set a good example for your kids. See your homie, and he's sleazing up on some gal pals. Hey, bullshit. You know, you would think that people would like want to get behind that, right? Be like, yeah. Well, that was not the case, so let's check out some of the comments. You have one job, to sell razors to men with beards. Who in the marketing department is responsible for this embarrassment? Gillette has started its campaign to re-elect Trump in 2020 rather early. Moral lessons from a P&G owned company. What's next? Moral lesson from Bill Clinton? Okay, so we're jumping ahead a little bit, but Procter and Gamble, and they're like the people that are Gillette, basically. So someone went ahead and made a list of every single Procter and Gamble product. Head and Shoulders, Pantene, Rejoice, Olay, Old Spice, Safeguard, SK11, SK2, Braun, Fusion, Gillette, Mach 3, Presto Barba, Venus, Crest, Oral-B, Metamucil, Prilosec, Vicks, Ariel, Downy, Gain, Tide, Cascade, Dawn, Febreze, Mr. Clean, Swiffer, Loves, Pampers, Always, Tampax, Bounty, Charmin, and Puffs. Fuck. Okay, so you get the point. It's not like positive. Like, people are pretty pissed off. It's important to note that people are also saying that Gillette is like removing negative comments and that they're deleting dislikes. Right now it's at 335,000 likes and 714,000 dislikes. So what good would it really do them to get rid of like 50,000 or whatever? The margin is so huge. Unless they're trying to like kind of dwindle away at the ratio. But I don't really see it going this way. You know, not at this point, so I don't really know if that would do that. But whatever, I mean, the point is that the response has been overwhelmingly negative for the most part. And we're gonna go into why a little bit, but first it's a little more important to understand that this isn't like just a Gillette thing. So like, as we talked about, this is Procter and Gamble. They own all this stuff. And they actually have done something like this before. Back in 2014, they did a Like a Girl campaign. I'll roll that clip for you real quick.
Run like a girl. Row like a girl. Run like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
Right, and the response to that was like significantly more positive, at least from like a statistical standpoint. But, you know, overall, the reactions to it, you know, like on Twitter and social media and all that, were still pretty negative, a little bit hateful sometimes. But we're not really gonna talk about all that. We're just gonna kind of talk about, you know, this Gillette one. What is it about this that people are really, really disliking? The general tone of a lot of comments is that this is an assault on masculinity. It goes beyond being like a feminist thing, and it turns into like a criticizing men. And then there's also the hypocrisy side of it. People are saying that it's hypocritical for a corporation to kind of come in and tell you what to do, what the moral high ground is. And people are saying that it's like a white versus black thing, because in a lot of parts, like the black people are the ones to step in and be like, no. So, all right. And then, you know, they're doing the down votes thing, trying to get rid of the down votes to even it out. I'd say that overall the strongest reaction is plain and simple. It's that a lot of men feel that men are being specifically attacked. So I really am ready to move on to my opinion about this whole thing. Before I do that, there's this video that I want to present to you. There's this girl and her name is, what's her name? Melanie Murphy. That's it, Melanie Murphy. She did a video about this that I really love, because it kind of made me look at this differently. So I'm gonna play her clip a little bit because it kind of segues into the whole next section of the way we're gonna talk about this topic. So I'm gonna cut it up a little bit and I'm gonna show it to you. Here we go.
The ad was a smidge overdone, but it and the comments underneath it riled my emotions enough to want to make this video. I love men. Almost all of my favorite human beings are men, like my dad, who has worked hard all his life to provide for us, like my partner who chased his dreams to become a commercial airline pilot, and like he always has my back. He makes me feel very protected. I love male YouTubers who have male audiences and show their emotions to them. I love men who campaign for things that they care about and believe in. Because not all women are perfect, not all men are perfect. There are some great men. I'd argue most men are great and kind and good and respectful. Shut up, tractor, shut the fuck up! This notion that to be a real man, you have to be all of these things at the same time. And it's kind of like when women say bullshit like, oh, real women have curves. Shut up, just shut up. I am guilty of using the word masculine myself, but masculinity is a socially constructed term, or well, concept that people selectively use to describe how a man should be. Men should never kind of fall outside of this. And this is just absolute bullshit. They're kind of taught from a young age that anger's the only thing they can kind of show without feeling ashamed. Like they're never shamed for showing anger, but they're absolutely shamed for showing fear or any other human emotion. When we talk about like toxic masculinity, there's nothing toxic about being a fucking man, and that is what is being missed here. What is toxic is feeling like you have to be a lad's lad and oh yeah, and going up and pinching girls' bums in nightclubs and showing off to the lads that you managed to sway some virgin who really didn't want to have sex with you to have sex with you because oh, you're such a lad, you're so cool, yeah, top shagger. Regarding the Gillette ad, I felt like it showed men at their best. I watched that and I saw men being amazing dads, standing up for and protecting their friends. They weren't being shown as idiots or meatheads or whatever.
Right, so I urge you to go check out her whole video. I'll link it down in the description. Now's the fun part. Now I get to talk about how I feel and probably piss people off on accident. But I don't really give a shit. Yeah, I'll say this. I did disagree with Melanie on one point. I think that it's a little bit more than a smidge overdone. I think it's pretty overly dramatic, and I can see why that would turn most people off. It definitely turns me off. I never really trust it when a corporation makes like a huge statement about something, because it's a corporation. They really only care about money, and I kind of think that was the situation here. I don't think that they made the Gillette ad because they're super passionate about social change. I think they did the ad because social change is really marketable and profitable. But at the same time, when a corporation talks about that, it just makes that issue even bigger and keeps it in the zeitgeist and the social consciousness. Yeah, it's kind of a mutually beneficial thing if you think about it. I think the thing that people are saying is bad about this is that men are being attacked and all men are bad and men need to change and men need to learn to control themselves and there's blah blah blah. But I also don't think that that's the point that this ad was trying to make. They made it pretty clear that they were not coming after all men. Don't believe me, I'll roll this clip right here, check it out.
We believe in the best in men, to say the right thing, to act the right way. Some already are.
Right? So they did specifically say, like, some men are good, like some men are doing the right thing. This is kind of represented in their call to action, really. Step up, say something. Don't be indifferent when you see men doing bad things. But on the flip side of that, you know, a lot of people, like, the way they feel is like, well, women can be bad too. Women do bad things too. And yeah, no shit. They have to pick a target, right? They have to focus on something. It's a 2-minute ad. They want to keep it short. They want to keep their message clear. So they can't just tackle the whole problem with humanity. They can't go too wide with it. They have to be narrow. They have to focus. Be consistent with their focus. And they did that. I don't really see this as an assault on masculinity. When I watched this, I didn't really feel like I was being attacked. because I'm a man. I think that their tone was pretty non-confrontational. I think their tone was more of like a little nudge than a shove. If you did get a shoving feeling from this, then you're probably who they're talking about, so stop. I think that, and this is complete pure speculation, I'm not calling anyone out in particular, a lot of the comments do feel like they're coming from a place of rage. Not the funny ones. The funny ones are just funny, but like a lot of the comments I was reading earlier, you can scroll through them yourself if you go to the video. A lot of them like are like really like, and I think that that's comes from a place of guilt. So that could be a part of it as well. Maybe some people know they're like, somewhere deep down know they're guilty of this type of thing, so they get really upset. That's the only like logical reason I can see for getting like outraged at this video. Like I get it, the video's dumb and it's kind of overly dramatic. It's super played up, but they're not wrong. Let's get a little more personal here. I've seen my mom and my girlfriend and a lot of women that are really important to me either tell me stories or have seen it. You know, I haven't seen it firsthand, but been really close to the situation where I've heard a story about some man doing some bullshit, like touching them inappropriately or trying to force themselves onto them. And I'm not going to get too specific just for their privacy. I cannot begin to explain to you how angry it makes me. Like I can, to this day, if I just think about, like I'm thinking about it right now and I'm mad. You can probably see in my face, I'm pretty pissed off. And that, I do think that type of stuff, that those types of things need to go away. It's not cool. It's not dope to like go up and just grab a girl's ass like she's some sort of property. She's not, she's a person, and you should fuck off. I don't know. I think that a big thing about this too is that on the internet you have the freedom to kind of overanalyze things and explore and then get with a bunch of other people, and then all of a sudden these huge things form. A lot of people are like making it like, oh, they snuck in like a race thing because I guess like a bunch of white guys were getting stopped by black guys in the video. I didn't see that when I watched it. I mean, that happened, but I don't think that has any sort of significance whatsoever. They didn't mention race once. It wasn't a race thing. If you get upset about like, oh, everything's a race thing now, then don't turn things into race things yourself. The actors were just black. They were just black people in it. Black people can be in something and it cannot be about race, all right? I don't know. I think that people just like to get mad about things. A lot of people will try to come up with the best tweet or the best like Facebook post or the best comment just for like fake fame or something, like just to get a lot of people behind them and get like kind of a rush. I guess it's sort of an addiction, so I guess it makes sense, but I don't really see a whole lot of people in the comments like adding something of value to this or giving like a legitimate reason as to why this is a bad thing. I don't think this is bad, really. I don't think that this is gonna make a worse world for my kids, the fact that this video came out. I think that this is a good thing. The point is good, the message is good, and regardless of how you feel about it, we're talking about the subject, and it's a subject that there is a problem. You do have to kind of hold people accountable. I do kind of see the side of like, well, women need to be held accountable too. Men need to be held accountable just as much as women need to be held accountable. Yeah, you're not wrong, but I think that the focus being on men is a little bit appropriate. The call to action essentially was step in if you see a man doing something like using his power for bad reasons or forcing himself on a woman who might not necessarily be interested, or they're bullying somebody else. Like, come and step in and do something and say something. That's definitely true. The indifference of good people against evil is a huge cultural thing right now. We'll turn a blind eye to a lot of things, and that needs to stop. We can't keep turning a blind eye to shit. I'm pretty happy with this whole situation because it opened up a door, right, to walk in and talk about things, and that led me to Melanie Murphy's video. And while she made a lot of points that I don't think Gillette was necessarily trying to make, it was just kind of coming from her. I'm glad that I got there because I genuinely feel like I have a slightly better understanding of the world around me because I watched her video. She said a lot of things that I would not have thought of before, and I wouldn't have gone there if I didn't decide to do this Gillette video and go look at the Gillette video. So either way, whether you're pissed off or not, we're talking about it, right? We're calling bullshit out, which is good. I can't really align myself with a whole lot of movements because people will just take everything and just and run with it and just kind of ruin it for me. That's a big old can of worms that I don't want to go too far into. I wasn't even going to go this far initially, but here we are. And I think that we just keep taking steps. And as long as we're talking about all this, it's good. You know what? I've just kind of inadvertently turned this whole thing into a rant, so I'm going to cut it off here. I just want to make my last point. You're watching a video from a guy who grew up being raised by all women. Maybe my perspective's a little bit different on this whole thing, but I didn't have a dad in my ear telling me how I was supposed to be, what a man's supposed to do, how a man's supposed to be. I just kind of would see it, and a lot of the time it didn't really line up with the way that I was. So let me say this. Don't let me or Gillette or even Melanie Murphy tell you who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to act. I think that being a man or being a woman or being just a person is a lot more about deciding what makes you you, what types of things make you feel good to do, what types of things don't, and being the person that you can kind of see inside your head. I think that that's more the point of like how you should be. You shouldn't do something just because it makes you masculine. And if you're a woman, you shouldn't do something just because it makes you feminine. I think you should just do what you want to do. I realize I'm kind of contradicting myself by telling you how to act, but I'm not like trying to. I'm just kind of trying to, you know. How about this? I'm pretty sick of just constant labeling. We always have to be something. You know, like, be a man about this. Oh, you're a girl. You're a guy. Whatever. Don't be a man. Don't be a woman. Don't be a child. Don't be a whatever. Just be a you. Just be what you are. I think if we could all do that, we'd all be a lot happier and we'd see a lot of these issues go away. Yeah.